imagine you having $30 million and your opponent having $400 million. Is that really fair? I personally don't think so. So why is that in baseball they allow teams to have this big of a difference to spend on players? Today I'm going to talk to you about why they should implement salary caps in baseball, just like they do in the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, and the National Lacrosse League. Salary caps are there to pretty much regulate the spending that teams do on players, not including free agents. So that would mean if the league was to say the cap would be $50 million, the team can only spend up to $50 million on every person they were to pay for that year. And so if the baseball was to implement that, they would be regulating the Yankees from spending over $300 million and allowing other teams to have a chance at a title. And so today, what I'm going to preview for you is the benefits of salary caps, the what baseball uses now, which is the luxury tax, and how salary caps will help other teams as well, help other leagues as well. So for the benefits of salary caps, it allows the games to be more evenly matched. So with allowing other teams to get as good of players as the other teams can, because they're not spending more money, they're evening out the playing field, which means they all have a better chance of getting to playoffs and getting the title. And allowing the teams to be more evenly played, you do get more broadcast time because people are wanting to watch games that are close, neck and neck games, not the ones that are blowouts, because who wants to watch that? And so with the games being evenly matched, the teams also make the money from the broadcasting of the people watching those games and selling more tickets to all the teams' events. According to the Associated Press, having a salary cap also benefits financially for teams, saying that they can't spend all the money on just those players, because when you're spending millions and millions of dollars on players, you're losing all that money, and you don't get that money back until later with the broadcasting and all that. But if people aren't watching because you're getting blown out, you don't get that money back. Just like with the Dodgers recently with 2012, because they lost their contract for their TV broadcasting, they had to file for bankruptcy because the MLB couldn't afford to help pay for the team without their TV broadcasting contract. With the luxury tax that baseball does use right now, it allows the wealthier teams to pretty much just fly by their luxury tax rule. With the Yankees, their final payroll last year was $237 million, according to the ESPN, and the Astros was only $29.3 million. And the Yankees have about 10 players on the top 50 highest players paid in 2013 as well, and then the rest are just spread out over different teams like the Giants. And with the luxury tax rule, it's your first offense going over the amount they have, which I think currently right now is $198 million is the highest you're allowed to go. So if you were to go over that, whatever you go over, you're taxed for. And at 17.5 million or 17.5% for your first offense. Your second offense is 30%. Your third offense is 40%, and your fourth offense and everything over that is 50%. The Yankees have actually had to pay every single year since the luxury tax has been implemented which means they are now paying 50% of whatever they have gone over. And currently, the Yankees hold 98% of the luxury tax that has been paid since the rule has been implemented. And they have gone about $250 million in luxury taxes paid to the league. Salary caps are beneficial to baseball because they will regulate all that spending that the players have to go through. It'll allow the teams to be on a more even playing field, meaning they just are more, oh gosh. They all have the better players they can get, and not all the best players are stacked on one team. Like the Yankees having the highest paid players, they're getting the players that obviously have come out of the draft the best, highest round ones. And just like with the NFL, they have these so no teams can be bankrupt, or they have them so the teams don't lose all their money, and they allow the TV channels to be broadcasted more because they're allowing the teams to get money from that as well.
So, Jimmy, can you share with us what you thought?
I thought it was a well presentation. She gave a lot of examples. She gave us a lot of numbers to help us see and prove a point. She explained the benefits of doing it well, as well as the impacts it made on the specific teams, such as the Yankees. She even countered it with examples of basketball and football, which I thought helped strengthen her argument. I thought the delivery was good. She maintained eye contact pretty well.
All right, I think you've got an okay attention device. I think you could use something maybe a little bit more dramatic, but the idea that you are talking about is very clearly introduced, and we know what your purpose is. You define the nature of what a salary cap is. There's kind of a joke in there about the Yankees and allowing everybody else a chance once in a while. I think that you need a little bit of practice on that to make it work more effectively before you get to the preview. The preview basically lists off the ideas of the supporting points, but the supporting points are not labeled like sentences. They're just words or phrases, and so it sounds very choppy when you are talking about that. I think you need to work a little bit on the language and planning on those issues. On the first point, when you got there, you signposted it pretty clearly. Your explanation of the subject there was fine. It does seem, though, that it gets a little convoluted and repetitive when you're talking about that point. You've got an example with the Dodgers that you want to use, but I think you need to give us a little bit more detail, a little bit more context, and show us how that's an illustration of the point that you're talking about there. I thought you had good factual data about the Yankees and the Astros, for instance, and then on the discussion of the luxury tax, you had a very good amount of detail on how the Yankees have ended up having to pay the league a huge amount of money, and that they're the ones who are primarily paying for the luxury tax. I think the argument here is that the luxury tax is not working and that it needs to be replaced by something that's going to be more effective. The idea that a salary cap is going to be more effective, that's the thing that I think needs a little bit more proof. You started talking about that, you made a couple of comparisons, but you don't get very far into that, and the next thing I know, the speech is done. It just feels like you kind of bailed out at the end, and there's not really much of a summary or much emotional resonance that's going on there. So you've got a basic argument, a reasonable idea, some good information in the presentation, but I think you need to do a little bit more to sell it. All right, thank you.